Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Success Resources channel. I'm Nicholas, and man, am I excited for today's deep dive.
You too.
We're tackling a concept that's,
Really at the heart of.
yeah, totally fundamental to building wealth,
Yeah.
and it's really shifted my whole perspective on money, to be honest.
It's a real game changer.
It is, but before we get too far into it,
Yeah.
let me introduce our expert for today,
Yes.
Amy.
Hello.
She is here to walk us through all this,
Financial wisdom.
yes, all this financial wisdom.
Hey everyone, I'm excited to be here with you all today.
Awesome. Now, for anyone new to Success Resources, we are a global education company. And, we're all about empowering people
Yes.
to achieve financial success.
Yeah.
We host tons of events
Hundreds.
all around the world every year,
Yes, all over.
featuring some of the biggest names in personal finance and entrepreneurship.
We've had some incredible speakers over the years.
Oh, yeah.
People like Bill Clinton,
P. Harviker.
even Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
Big names.
And speaking of incredible speakers,
Yeah.
you do not want to miss Robert Kiyosaki Live.
Yes.
He's going to be headlining our National Achievers Congress Make the World Rich Again in South Africa and Singapore
It is August.
this August.
That's right. August 23rd and 24th, 2025.
Write it down.
Mark your calendars.
Yes.
And, of course, we'll drop a link in the description box below,
Absolutely.
so you can get all the details and snag your tickets.
Yeah, hearing Kiyosaki speak in person,
Oh, it's an experience.
it's an experience that will completely transform your approach to money.
Totally life-changing.
Life-changing.
So today's deep dive is all about one of Kiyosaki's core principles from his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes,
And that is the idea of buying assets, not liabilities.
that's right.
And I know what you might be thinking. Nicholas, I've heard this before.
Right.
Assets good, liabilities bad.
Everyone knows that.
But trust me, there's a lot more to it than just those surface-level definitions.
No, really.
So much more.
It's not just about knowing what the terms mean, but really understanding that mindset shift that needs to happen
Right.
to start making decisions that build wealth and not drain it.
I love that.
Yeah.
The mindset shift. So let's break this down
Okay.
for those who might need a refresher,
Yes.
or even if you think you've got this down pat.
Huh.
What exactly is an asset in the Kiyosaki sense of the word?
Okay. So in the simplest terms, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket.
Okay.
It's something you own that generates income or appreciates in value over time.
Okay, so it's not just about owning things. It's about owning things that are working for you,
That's right.
financially speaking.
Exactly. It's about having your money make money for you instead of it just sitting there.
Right.
Or even worse, constantly being spent on things that are losing value.
So give us some examples. What are some specific things that would fall into the category of an asset?
Well, real estate is a classic example.
Okay.
If you own a rental property that rent money coming in each month,
Yeah.
that's passive income. Okay.
So that property is an asset
Okay.
because it's generating that cash flow for you.
Right. It's working for you even while you sleep.
Exactly.
What are some other examples?
Well, stocks that pay dividends are another good one.
Okay.
You're essentially owning a piece of a company that's generating profits.
Okay.
And a portion of those profits are paid out to you as dividends.
Got it. So it's about generating income, but it can also be about appreciation.
Yes.
Right. Like something going up in value over time.
Exactly. Think about a piece of art,
Hmm.
a rare collectible, or even a business that you own and grow.
Okay.
These things have the potential to increase in value over time.
Got it.
So even if they're not generating immediate income, they can still be considered assets because they represent stored value
Okay.
that you could tap into later.
I'm starting to see how this goes beyond just the typical stocks and bonds definition of assets.
Yeah.
It's really about looking at everything you own through this lens of,
Yes.
is this putting money in my pocket or is it taking money out? You got it. That is the key question to ask yourself with every financial decision.
Really, with every financial decision.
Every single one.
Okay, wow. All right, so let's flip the script.
Okay.
Let's talk about liabilities.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people get tripped up on this one.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to certain things that we're often told are good investments.
Absolutely. There are a lot of misconceptions out there about liabilities masquerading as assets.
There are. Okay, so before we get to those misconceptions,
Yeah.
let's start with the basics. What defines a liability?
A liability is essentially the opposite of an asset.
Okay.
It's something that takes money, OUT, of your pocket.
Okay.
It costs you money to own or maintain, and it often depreciates in value over time.
So like a money drain,
Yes,
constantly pulling money out of your account.
exactly.
So give us some examples. What are some of the most common liabilities people might have?
Okay, well, the most common one and one that Kiyosaki talks a lot about is a car.
A car.
You've got your car payment insurance, gas maintenance.
Yeah.
All of those things cost money,
Uh-huh.
and the value of the car itself is going down every single day.
Yeah, it's like a money pit on wheels.
That's right.
Okay, so car, definitely a liability. What else? What about like credit card debt?
Oh, credit card debt is a huge one. Especially if you're only making the minimum payments and racking up those high interest charges.
Yeah.
It can be a real wealth killer.
Ouch. Yeah, those interest rates can get out of control.
They really can.
Okay, so we got cars, credit card debt.
Right?
What about something like, say, a house? Because I know a lot of people think of their house as their biggest asset.
Yeah.
But is that always the case?
That's a great question, and it's one that Kiyosaki really challenges in his book.
He does.
He argues that unless your house is generating income for you, like if you're renting out a portion of it,
Yeah.
it's actually acting as a liability.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah,
My house, the place I live, could actually be dragging me down financially.
potentially.
How does that work?
Think about it. You've got your mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance maintenance costs.
Yeah.
All of those things are taking money out of your pocket each month.
Okay.
And unless the value of your house is appreciating at a rate that outpaces those costs,
Right.
and in many cases it isn't,
Uh-huh.
then it's not actually building wealth for you in the same way that, say, a rental property would.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is already making me rethink some of my own financial choices.
It's a good thing.
So we've got assets, putting money in liabilities, taking money out.
Yeah.
But what I find really fascinating is this idea of an asset versus liability mindset.
Absolutely.
Can you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, so it all comes down to how you view money and how you make those financial decisions.
Okay.
People with a wealth-building mindset are always looking for opportunities to acquire assets,
Oh,
to create streams of income that work for them, not against them.
got it.
They're playing the long game, thinking about long-term financial security.
So they're not just thinking about how to spend money, but how to make their money work for them.
Right. And that's where the contrast with a consumer mindset comes in.
Okay.
People stuck in a consumer mindset often end up acquiring liabilities
Huh.
and sometimes even mistaking them for assets.
Ah, so that's where those misconceptions come into play.
Exactly. It's about keeping up with the Joneses,
Yeah.
buying fancy cars, designer clothes, the latest gadgets,
Right.
things that depreciate in value the second you buy them.
Yeah. But those things don't actually contribute to your long-term financial well-being.
Exactly. And this is where it's so important to understand the difference between looking wealthy and actually building wealth.
Totally. So we've got these two contrasting mindsets.
Yeah,
The wealth builder versus the consumer.
that's right.
So how do we start shifting our thinking and actually making smarter financial choices? What are some concrete steps people can take?
Well, first you have to recognize where you are right now.
Okay.
What are your spending habits? What are your beliefs about money?
You've got to be really honest with yourself about those things.
Right. And then from there, you can start to make adjustments.
Okay.
Kiyosaki offers some really practical advice in his book,
Yeah.
but I think one of the most powerful things you can do is to simply start thinking differently about your money.
Instead of thinking, what can I buy with this?
Right.
Start thinking, how can I make this money grow?
Exactly. Shift your focus from consumption to creation.
Okay.
How can you use your money to generate more money? How can you create assets that will work for you instead of against you?
This is where things start to get really interesting.
I know.
We're moving beyond just definitions and getting into actual strategies
Right.
for building wealth.
That's what we're going to dive into next.
Understanding that core difference between assets and liabilities.
Yes.
And like we were just saying,
Yeah.
it's time to move beyond just those definitions.
Right.
And really get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, let's do it.
How do we actually start putting this knowledge into practice?
Well, it's all about making that mindset shift and then taking actionable steps.
Okay.
And, it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming thing.
Right.
Even small changes can have a big impact over time.
That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin?
One of the first things I always recommend is to track your expenses.
Okay.
Get really clear on where your money is going each month.
Kind of like a financial audit
Exactly.
of your own life.
Yeah. Are you spending on things that are truly aligned with your goals and values?
Yeah.
Or are you just mindlessly accumulating liabilities that are dragging you down?
Ouch. I think we've all been there
Probably.
at some point. But once you've got that awareness, then what?
Then you can start to make more conscious choices about how you spend.
Okay.
And more importantly, how you invest your money.
So instead of automatically reaching for that new gadget
Right.
or, splurging on something you don't really need.
Mm-hmm.
You pause and ask yourself,
Yes.
is this an asset or a liability?
Exactly. And if it's a liability, is there a way to redirect those funds towards something that will actually build wealth for you?
Now, you mentioned investing.
Yeah.
What are some ways that people can start investing in assets even if they don't have a ton of money to throw around?
There are so many options these days.
There are.
You don't need to be a Wall Street whiz to start investing.
Right.
You could look into low-cost index funds,
Mm-hmm.
real estate crowdfunding platforms, or even peer-to-peer lending.
Wow, I didn't even know about some of those.
Yeah,
It's amazing how accessible investing has
it
become.
really is. And don't underestimate the power of starting small.
Go.
Even if you can only invest a small amount each month, it adds up over time.
Right.
Consistency is key.
Consistency and patience.
Yes.
We're playing a long game here.
Absolutely. Building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint.
Now, I know a lot of people might be listening to this thinking, okay, I want to start investing,
Yeah.
but where do I even learn about all this stuff?
Yeah,
It can feel overwhelming.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
But the good news is there are so many resources available to help you.
Okay.
There are books, podcasts, online courses, you name it. You mentioned Kiyosaki earlier. His book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is a great place to start.
Yeah.
It lays a really solid foundation for understanding these core principles.
And it's written in a way that's easy to understand,
Yeah.
even if you're not a financial expert.
Exactly.
Speaking of resources, before we move on, I wanted to remind our listeners about something really cool we offer here at Success Resources,
Oh, yes.
our free financial freedom test.
It's awesome.
This is such a valuable tool.
It is.
It helps you assess your current mindset around money,
Yes.
identify areas where you can grow,
Uh-huh.
and really start to pinpoint those next steps
Yeah.
on your journey to financial freedom.
It's a great tool.
It is. And we'll drop a link in the description box below so you can take the test
Absolutely.
completely free. And it could be a real game changer for you.
For sure.
So we've talked about tracking expenses,
Yes.
making conscious choices, exploring those different investment options, taking advantage of resources like our financial freedom test.
Mm-hmm.
What else can people do to start putting these principles into action?
Well, one thing that's often overlooked is the importance of diversifying your income streams.
Okay.
Don't rely on just one source of income.
Going.
Create multiple streams
Okay.
of income to achieve greater financial security and flexibility.
The multiple income streams. This is where things get exciting.
I know, right?
This is where that entrepreneurial spirit
Yes.
can really come into play.
Exactly. It could be starting a side hustle, turning a hobby into a business, or even just finding creative ways to generate some passive income.
Right.
The more streams of income you have, the more resilient you are to those financial challenges.
It's like building a financial safety net for yourself.
Exactly.
And it gives you options, which ultimately leads to more freedom.
Exactly.
Right.
And freedom is what it's all about, right?
It really is financial freedom.
Yes.
Having the resources and the flexibility to live life on your own terms.
On your own terms.
It's a powerful thing.
It is. And it's achievable for anyone who's willing to put in the work and make those mindset shifts.
So to sum up,
Okay.
we've got track your expenses,
Yes.
make conscious choices, explore investments,
Yeah.
diversify your income,
Right.
and never stop learning.
Always keep learning.
And remember,
Yeah.
building wealth is a journey, not a destination.
That's right.
It's about making those consistent small changes over time
Yes.
that add up to big results.
Well said. And don't forget to have fun along the way.
Yeah,
Building wealth shouldn't feel like a chore.
right.
It should be an exciting adventure.
I love that. It's about taking control of your finances and creating a life you love.
Yes.
And speaking of creating a life you love,
Yeah.
remember Robert Kiyosaki himself is going to be live in South Africa and Singapore
That's right.
this August.
This August.
The National Achievers Congress. Make the world rich again.
Don't miss it.
It's an event you do not want to miss.
If you're serious about leveling up your financial game.
Absolutely. We'll have all the details and the link to get your tickets in the description box below.
Yes.
But before you head down there,
Okay.
let's wrap up today's deep dive with a final thought-provoking question.
I like it.
So think about this. What's one thing that you've always considered an asset that after today's deep dive,
Yeah.
might actually be more of a liability in disguise?
Mm-hmm.
It might be your house, that fancy car,
Yeah.
or even that expensive degree that you're still paying off.
Oh, yeah.
Take a moment to really examine, those ticket items in your life
Uh-huh.
and ask yourself, is this truly serving my financial future? Or is it subtly holding me back?
It's a powerful question, and one that can lead to some real breakthroughs in
Right.
how you view your finances.
Yeah.
Once you start to see things through this lens of assets versus liabilities,
Yeah.
it can completely transform the way you make decisions.
It's like a whole new world opens up. You
Totally.
start seeing opportunities that you never even noticed before.
Yeah,
And you begin to make choices that align with, those long-term financial goals.
exactly. And remember, it's never too late to make a change.
Yeah.
Whether you're just starting out on your financial journey or you're already well on your way,
Right.
you can always take steps to shift your mindset and start building that true wealth.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into Robert Kiyosaki's core principle of
Yes,
buying assets, not liabilities.
it's a good one.
Hopefully you're leaving today with a fresh perspective on your finances
Yeah.
and, some actionable steps that you can take to start building that financial freedom you deserve.
And don't forget to check out that link in the description box for our free financial freedom test.
Yes.
It's a great way to get personalized insights and guidance on your financial journey.
And one last reminder,
Yes,
make sure to grab your tickets to see Robert Kiyosaki live at the National Achievers Congress, Make the World Rich Again,
that's right.
happening in South Africa and Singapore this August.
Yes, an event that could truly change your life.
It's an investment
It is.
in your future.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into assets versus liabilities.
Wes, thank you.
Until next time,
See you next time.
keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving towards that financial freedom.
That's it.